215 countries in the United States, the country in the world. We rank top 10 in having the largest inequality between the CEO and the average worker in that company. Doesn't everybody want to get compensated for doing their work? I try. I know I do. If I do some work, I want to get compensated properly. I don't want to get paid a lot. I just want to get paid for what I'm doing. And if somebody's doing not that much work, I want them to get paid for not doing that much work. My name is Angel. I used to live in a low-income community, and I still do. I worked for a company, privately owned company, that the CEO didn't do that much work, and I worked my butt off for him. There's three aspects of the inequality in American society. It's the greed of the CEO, the lack of funding in the low-income communities, and the lack of government regulations and reform. The ratio of the CEO in the last 6 years has gotten out of control, and it's caused a trickle-down effect. According to the Economic Policy Institute, it's a nonprofit organization that was a nonprofit, nonpartisan. It's a think tank that was created in 1986 to include the needs of the low income and middle class. Works in economic policy discussions. They said that the CEO in 1965 pay was an average about all the CEOs' average pay was about $800,000, and the workers' pay was $40,000, and that's a ratio of 20 to 1. In 2013, the average CEO made $12.5 million, and the average worker made $42,000. So that means the CEO money's increased 12-fold over 60 years, while the average worker only increased $2,000. Now imagine if we were making the same ratio as we did 60 years ago. If we were just to say that the average CEO income was $10 million, and we just took that as 20 to 1 ratio as we did 60 years ago, the average worker would be making $500,000. And we wouldn't be having all these issues in the low-income community. The lack of funding in the community impacts us all. When I was young, I used to go to school called Shaw School. And a few weeks ago, I found out that they shut the school down because the city or the state couldn't afford to keep the school open, and it's located in a very bad neighborhood. So they closed it. Yeah, I felt sad. I felt bad because I was watching the news, just watching TV, and then all of a sudden, Channel 12 pops up. I just watched it, and they're talking about school in Central Phoenix is getting shut down. And I was like, I should go around there. And then, lo and behold, it was Shaw School, my school that I went to when I was young. And I tried to do something, but by the time I found out, it was too late. And I didn't have the means to help out anyways. 8 years ago, I used to work for the city of Phoenix. We had a budget crisis, and we had to cut funding. But the first on the budget was the park and recreations that I worked for. They wanted to cut our money down so they can try to make the budget we got paid a lot anyways. We didn't get paid that much. I was getting like $9 an hour just to help to work at the after school program, and they wanted to cut our funding first instead of cutting other major fundings. Now that's the kind of government we don't need, regulation and reform. Just a few months ago, we elected a new governor and new state representatives for our state. The first thing they did was they wanted to cut the SNAP program. That's supplemental nutrition. Supplemental nutrition is basically the food stamp program. They cut that down by 4 years. A person that's struggling is able to get on food stamps, and they use it for 5 years. But now they cut the criteria down to just 1 year. I understand we're not trying to give people a handout, but we do want to help out our people in our community because we don't want to let kids starve, let grown-ups starve. Also, the same governor and the same lawmakers decided to cut all our funding for all the community college and all universities in the state of Arizona as well. And now how are we going to fix this? Us as students, we want to educate ourselves, vote for the proper people who don't have an agenda, they're trying to help themselves and want to help their community. And also go to town hall meetings so your voice can be heard. That's it.